This video is a walkthrough of Chapter 3G of the Building Java Programs book. These slides have been produced previously by Amelia Gahn. Thank you very much, Amelia. So this chapter is all about graphics, which is a very exciting and useful topic. Before you can use the graphics in this chapter, you need to use a special class that the authors have provided called Drawing Panel. Now, the instructions in this slide are not quite right. You can't just place Drawing Panel in the same file as your programs. You actually need to drag and drop it into the default package of your source code here. Otherwise, Eclipse will not work with it. Other IDEs will work fine, but Eclipse will not work unless you drag and drop it so you see Drawing Panel in the default package. So Drawing Panel is created by the authors, and it's a wrapper around the graphics class, which is provided by Java, and it makes it a little bit easier for us to deal with. So we're going to be using that. It shortens our code. The first thing to do in order to access the graphics is you're going to be calling new on Drawing Panel. I'll show you the Eclipse here. So you call Drawing Panel, this is the name of your variable. DP is just a shorthand for Drawing Panel. So you create a new Drawing Panel, and then this is the X or the width, this is the Y or the height of the Drawing Panel that you want to create. And one big part of what you're going to be learning this week is just getting used to the coordinate system of this graphics engine and understanding how to draw objects and how to specify that. So unlike in math, coordinate system in math, if you think about an x and a y axis, it's in the upper right, but the coordinate system for this is actually opposite. So the y direction actually goes down. In all cases, everybody uses the x direction going to the right. This is kind of it's a debate in computer science as to whether the y-axis should go down or the y-axis should go up. Even within a single company like Apple, they have in one other operating system it goes up, and the other operating system it goes down. So even the same company can't decide. The original cathode ray tubes, or TVs, all scanned from left to right, from top to bottom. So most people say that that's the right way, but these days most graphic systems let you define it one way and then implement it another, so it doesn't really matter. But it's important to note that this system is going from the upper left going down. So there's two methods that you can call on the Drawing Panel. You simply get the graphics of it, and you can also set the background of the entire Drawing Panel. So again, here we've got, after we've created our Drawing Panel, we just do dp.getGraphics, and then we can start drawing on it immediately. Once you do get that graphics out of the Drawing Panel, now you're back into regular Java class code. So everybody who uses Java knows the graphics class. So there's a lot of different functions you can call in the graphics class. Here we talk about draw line. This actually draws from one XY point to the other XY point. That's not the way that most of these things work, though. I'm going to switch over to Java, and let's just go ahead and run this code that I've written. So this is going to do a draw rect, and I won't talk about the format yet. Let's just run it. So it's going to create a panel that is 400 pixels across and 400 pixels down. You can actually see down here, it shows you where your cursor is, and then it draws a rectangle there. Let's go ahead and add that code that it was talking about to draw a line. So here it says g.drawLine, x1, y1, x2, y2. So I do g.drawLine, and because Eclipse already knows about this, it gives me some parameters. So let's draw it from, say, 100, 100 to the second point of 300, 300. Actually, let's make it a little bit off so that you can see. Let's just make it 150 and then 300. Okay, let's go ahead and draw that. Okay, so it started at 100. Oh, it's actually outside the rectangle here. So that's at the start of the rectangle, and then it's drawing it to x 150 and then y 300. Okay, so it's X going this way, Y going that way. Let's go back to our slides. So this is the simplest program. Just doing a draw line. This is talking about how you have to import it, but it's not quite right. So, but notice here, draw line has an x1, y1, x2, y2, because when we draw lines in math, we always have one endpoint and the other endpoint. All the rest of these, or most all the rest of these, have an x and a y, but then it's a width and a height. So it is not x, y, x, y, it's x, y, and then dx, dy, if you will. So that's important to note. So we've got drawing and filling, we've got fonts, and we've got colors. I want to take another look at some more of these. So we've done a draw line, we've done a draw rect. What about draw oval? So let's make an oval in that same area, g.draw oval, same 100, 100. And then again, it's a width and a height. So let's put the same as dimensions as the box we've already got out there. Let's run that. Okay, so the oval fills the maximum size of the rectangle that it's in. Let's make this rectangle wider than it is, tall, and we'll change the oval as well. So now you see it's a little bit too far. Here, let's make it, I'll show you. Let's make this this width here, instead of 400, let's make it 600. That'll give us more room to the right. There. You can see now the oval is going to fill the box, whichever dimensions you give it. Okay, let's take a look at what else we've got here. So, okay, what's the difference between drawing and filling? So what we'll do is we'll set a color. Let's take a look at how the colors work. So the class, there's a class called color. And remember how constants are usually kept in all caps. So these are all constants. So you've got constants for all the major colors. These colors are actually specified by 3 separate colors, red, green, and blue. And if you want to create a color that's not here, you can create a color, and you will supply it with the red, green, and blue to the new constructor, and you can create any color that you want. Okay, but let's go back to our source code. And let's remind ourselves what is it's set color. So g.set color, and then we've got a color dot, let's say, red, and then a g dot, let's say, a fill oval. Okay, so now we're not going to use the same one. Let's go different. Let's do 150, 150, and then the width, instead of our 300, 200, let's make it 150 and 100. Let's see what that does. That should fill in an oval in red there. And the rules basically that the last person who draws the pixel wins. So let's change this draw line here. Let's draw this across the entire box. We've got 300, 200. If I do it this way, the line gets hidden behind it. Let's put another line on top of it, g.draw line. And let's put this, so the x will be 100, but the y, instead of being 100, I'm going to go ahead and make it 300. And then the second point, I want the x to be, let's see, we started at 100 and we ended 300 more later, so that's actually 400. And then the y will be 100. Let's run that. So now, oh, we got it in red. See, it's still using the red color. So let's change the g.set color, color.black. Now we'll be able to see what actually happens. Okay, so you can see the last person who drew the pixel wins. Okay, let's go back to our slides now. All right, so we've got colors. I've talked about that. you can set the background color on the panel. So notice this is not the graphics that we've been talking about for the last several minutes. This is the panel. You can set the background color. And then you can use that set color command I just talked about in order to set the color before you start drawing. And we talked about drawing and filling. And we also we learned that if you don't set the color, it's going to keep on using that color. I don't think this should really be a surprise, but you can use loops with anything, including graphics. So here's an example where they've created a loop from 1 to 4. So this loop, it's only one loop. It's not really an outer loop, but there's only one loop. It's going over these boxes here. It sets the color to be white, and then it fills in the oval, and then it sets the color to be black and draws the rectangle. It goes to the next I, and because it's specifying the X as I times 50, it's moving over 50 each time. Because it's specifying the Y, it's moving down 25 each time. So you can draw that. Okay, gradients, this is just showing, for example, that you can set a new color each time she's looping through rects, which is 32. So she's looping through 32 times, drawing a rectangle slightly shifted over here in a different color each time. Text and fonts, so you can draw a string at an X and a Y, and you can set the font. Here's an example. You can set it all different types of colors and sizes. I think it should come as no surprise that just like using loops, procedural decomposition can be used with anything, including graphics. So here, this is the graphics that we want to come up with, and we need to think, gee, how do we do that? Well, we could draw it 3 times, but probably it's better to do a loop once, twice, 3 times. And we should think, oh, maybe if I pass in a parameter for where the X and Y start are, I could draw it 3 different times. So we come up with this draw diamond routine. We always have to pass in G, the graphics. Otherwise, we don't want to use a global variable. And then we pass in a different X, 25, 100, 175, the same Y. What would happen if we change the Y? One might be lower or higher. And then just to draw the diamond, it accepts the graphics and the X and the Y, and then it draws the rectangle and draws the lines for the diamond inside there. So procedural decomposition works with graphics too, of course. And the sample problems have a lot more sophisticated use than this. So we've covered the drawing panel. This is what the authors provide. Drawing panel. We use create a drawing panel. Then we get the graphics object. The graphics object is provided by the Java class. We've got parameter passing going on. We can draw or fill. I want to remind people that when you draw a line, you're going to use 2 XY sets. Everything else pretty much is going to be X, Y, and then width and height. And you can draw a string. So I hope you have a lot of fun playing with graphics, and I'll be seeing you soon.